I want to play some audio because you taped a conversation between yourself and Mark Durno. That's his name, right? Mark Durno, who's the head of the Ohio EPA. I took this 30-second piece because I wanted to subtitle it for the audience, since the audio was a little hard to hear on the raw piece. But here's
I was
brief
holding
sample.
it upside down in my lap.
No, it's not your fault. I'm just saying. Obviously, it wasn't a production. You were filming. You were doing what you could.
I didn't want him to know.
No, of course.
And just a heads up, it is legal in Ohio. It's a one-party.
Yeah, one-party thing. Right, exactly. Yeah, well, News Nation picked this up, which we'll talk about in a second.
Did.
But yeah, this was totally legal. So here we go. This is from August 21st, a conversation between Joy Marie Mann and EPA head in Ohio, Mark Durno.
I do believe that some people that are having health issues probably was due to exposures early on. I do believe that some folks are dealing with a lot of PTSD.
Well, that seems dismissive of the real things.
I know, but I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah.
I do think there's the potential for something else going on that we just haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, so that's a little piece of it. That's the part that News Nation really latched on to. Yeah, I agree. It does seem a little dismissive of what's happening to blame it on PTSD. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I don't think PTSD makes you piss blood. Russell, did you ever hear that?
No, that's not a usual symptom of PTSD. That's a symptom of having toxic chemicals in your body. I think that can happen.
Yeah,
not usually
and just
PTSD.
to clarify, that was another girl I was with speaking in that clip.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It was a 91-minute conversation. So I was with someone else and a resident as well. So there were three of us in the conversation.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was 91 minutes, and it's being used in lawsuits because he. Wow. Yeah.
Well, the whole conversation is up.
Flint. He was
What's
one
that?
of the leads in Flint as well.
Oh, wow. Wild. Well, that whole conversation is up on your YouTube channel, but News Nation picked up on that audio. They put this piece out. This was back in October. EPA official says agency made mistakes in East Palestine. An EPA official says the federal agency should have tested the creeks near East Palestine sooner following February's toxic train derailment, according to an audio recording obtained by News Nation. I'll be the first to acknowledge that we waited way too long to do the assessment of the creeks, Mark Durno, the EPA official in charge of East Palestine, told Pennsylvania resident Joy Marie Mann, who recorded their conversation at the local EPA headquarters. On the recording, Durno, who was speaking in his personal and not official capacity just 3 days after officials burned 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride over East Palestine, the EPA assured residents it was safe to return home, but soon after, community members started reporting strange sicknesses. When asked whether he sees a correlation between the illnesses and the EPA's all-clear decision, Durno can be heard on the recording saying, "This is just an opinion. This is way out of my lane. My position on it is I do believe that some of the ongoing health concerns, are from early exposures either that weekend or the next week. I do believe that's probably happening." As for the groundwater, he says it appears to be safe for now. I am 100% confident in the groundwater. I'm not saying I'm 100% confident in the groundwater in 10 years. However, he also acknowledged the testing limits are high, which means chemicals detected below those levels may not show up. So, Joy, you and the people...
Did he do an Obama? Did he fake drink it for you?
Yeah, right. Did he drink
it for you? He did. Not for me, but at first.
So like the Obama, the fake sip?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, the Obama sip.
The Obama sip, as it's known in the business.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's how they do it. So you and the townspeople who you interviewed and met there in your travels weren't the only people who criticized the EPA. Leslie Pacey, an investigator with the Government Accountability Project, isn't satisfied with the EPA's response. These are not acceptable answers from the EPA, an organization that's entrusted to protect the health of the community and that has the money and the manpower to do so, she said. Pacey has listened to the full audio recording and says the EPA's tactics seem aimed at not finding the truth and not revealing the truth to the public. It's just really shocking to hear these things and very concerning because the EPA's job is to take care of the environment and human health, and it sounds like they're not really sure they did that based on what they're hearing now with these health symptoms, she said. Final slide. Stephen Lester, science director with the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice, agrees. He thinks the EPA is failing its core mission to protect public health. They're not doing that in East Palestine. They're not doing that to protect somebody, I believe. I don't know who, but it's certainly not to protect the community in East Palestine, he said. For residents, the stakes couldn't be higher. People are really sick here, and I think the EPA understands that, Pacey said. Why haven't they done the testing that they need to and inform the public about what's going on is the real question. The EPA declined News Nation's interview request and did not comment. News Nation is not CNN, but it's a fairly substantial outlet. It's a legit outlet. The fact that they didn't have a comment obviously speaks to the way they've handled this. We talked a little bit about Donald Trump in an earlier portion of this interview. But what was the thing we heard when Donald Trump won? That he was going to undermine our institutions. He was going to destroy our institutions, right? Steve Bannon said he wants to dismantle the administrative state. And what did we think was the first one on the chopping block? Was the EPA. And now with Biden back in charge, you have one of the most catastrophic failures of the EPA in American history, no doubt. The fact that you still have people living in hotels, people are still now having to, I think, pay for their own testing if they want their homes tested before they return. 1 year later, they're still having to finance their own tests if they want them. Is that correct?
Yes. If they want to test their body vinyl chloride, it's $700 out of pocket for each person. And I mean, why not? Let's get 5. I mean, that's cheap. And then
you got a family of 5. That's what, $3,500 to get your family checked out.
And as the CDC dude said, Dr. Chang, shout out, it doesn't matter if when they test positive, they have no way to treat it, but they can treat the cancer. So yes, they would have to, they're losing any kind of, relocation, even if they're paying for it themselves, they're losing any of it. And they will not test for them. Although I know every single resident I know and have talked to have said that when they go back to their home, because they'll go back periodically and see, can I still smell it? What have you? They all get violently ill still when they walk in it.
Wow.
So the fact that they can't even test it, it's obviously because if they test it, the numbers are going to be atrocious. But the EPA, as a gem, when they released their findings through a FOIA, they had accidentally moved over a decimal point in all the results. So if it wasn't for an independent scientist volunteering his time who found out, wait, I'm getting 3%, they said 0.3%, things like that, like, holy shit, they moved. What's that?
Yeah. Oopsie.
Yeah, I mean, like, could have happened to anyone, clerical error. So if we didn't have these like volunteers helping, and this gentleman, Scott Smith, who's been out over 20 times from Massachusetts, he's an independent person who's just like so disgusted he keeps going out and doing his own tests. Norfolk Southern has subpoenaed him for his tests.
You're kidding me.
And he's like, let's go to trial. Let's go. And I've been told they may subpoena me for the recording I made. Let's go.
Yeah, but we're living in a country where look what they did to Steve Donziger. Look what they did to this guy.
That's exactly what I brought up.
Yeah, they destroyed this man. They destroyed his law career. So, yeah, when we had Glenn Greenwald on, he said that. He said, if you're an effective dissident, they will destroy you. They will come after you. So the idea that we're living in this Erin Brockovich country where good prevails, I mean, maybe when she did it.
Yeah.
But at this point, the system is so corrupt and so bought out where all of these regulatory bodies are staffed by lobbyists. They're all lobbyists for these industries staffing these. They'll just come after you. This is not, you're very, I don't want to be negative, but they come after you like that. You're very unlikely to have a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. You're much more likely to end up like Stephen Donziger.
Aaron Brockovich is actually talking about my recording and stuff. And, and still, even with big names like that, and, Pacey, the wonderful, Miss Pacey, she worked with Edward Snowden and helped him get freed. So these are literally huge people who are talking about this recording, but it still took me 3 months to get, 2.5 months to get any big publication to even talk about it. So,
yeah, and that winds up being News Nation, not these supposed liberal outlets, not CNN, not MSNBC. These are supposed to be the tribunes of the people, right?
Absolutely. And I definitely want to encourage people to watch the whole thing on my YouTube or listen to the whole thing. I mean, the stuff he says, be it literally laughing out loud when the other girl I was with brings up that a woman has chemical burns on her head because her hair is falling out because of the shower water, and he laughs out loud. Him saying numerous times, that's above my pay grade.
Wow.
When I told him, when I go, I get violently sick and I lost a freaking tooth, which has been happening to residents, he said, I find that really hard to believe. And I was like, okay, so what suddenly causes these things? And he said, well, it could be eating meat. I take B12. It could be eating onions, garlic. And I'm just like, this motherfucker is like, I'm not a violent person.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
It's a tooth loss. I must have missed that poster at the dentist next to the cat hanging in there.
That beauty right there.
Well, you did mention last time you were here that you still had felt a little sick, because last time you came on before and immediately after your trip. And I remember you saying that. And so very, very brave and noble of you to go back despite that. But going back is not cheap. Last time you were here, our audience, real mentions that you all are in the chat, raised about $1,200 for Joy to go to East Palestine. And so I want to post this fundraising link again. If you want to go and help her pay for that trip, you can go to givesendgo.com/GBHH5. That's where you can go to make a donation and help our friend Joy do the great citizen journalism that she does. You definitely proved that you made things happen last time you went. You got that recording and it got out there in the media a bit. You have Erin Brockovich talking about it, which is amazing. I reached out to Erin Brockovich to see if she would come on here and talk about this. She didn't get back to us. Maybe we weren't big enough back then.
She hasn't gotten back to me either.
Oh, no? Yeah, see, what the hell, man?
You're talking about me. Write me back, girlfriend.
I'd be better off asking fucking Julia Roberts to come on. And
right,
I'll say yes.
Right.
You're gonna see her in a BP ad next week.
Yeah, right, exactly. So there's the fundraising link. Joy, God bless you for doing what you do. Thank you so much for making time for us. Do you want to tell people where they can find you aside from this link, which I'll leave up on the screen for a little bit longer?
Yes. So if you can give, first of all, thank you so much. If you can't give, please share it and just, explain that the people are in need. I've decided this time, since last time me and my friend brought U-Hauls of diapers and food and pallets of water and kids' clothes and things like that. It was a lot. I'm blind. I walk with a cane. It's a lot for me. I can't drive. So just logistically and everything, it was not easy. So this time, I decided gift cards are the best way. The issue is, 200 people likely are going to need it. The last one we did a fundraiser last month with Max Alvarez of Real News. And we raised $6,500, but we had 183 people sign up. So that only gave people a $35 gift card each. So it's hard. I mean, I have it set to 5,000. I would love to raise more. anything helps. And of course, I will post pictures of receipts. I always do. So yeah, anything helps. You can follow me on @SavageJoyMarie1 on Twitter. I post a lot about East Palestine. Also, my channel, Savage Joy Marie Man, you can see dozens of shows with residents and scientists and professors and people who are doing the work and you know, looking at what needs to be done. But most importantly, do not stop talking about East Palestine. Please don't. And also tell other YouTubers, look, why aren't you talking about this? You talk about not being, you know, being anti-capitalist. Talk about East Palestine. You talk about environmentalism. Talk about East Palestine. Like, as viewers, we all have, you know, the responsibility to also tell people we are tuning into and giving super chats to that they also need to be covering this, because these people are sick, broke, and it's, quite frankly, it's a matter of time, and they say it a lot.
You're right.
Well, yep, indeed. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for coming on today. Please, like I said, go to that Give, Send, Go link there, givesendgo.com/GBHH5. Savage Joy Marie Man, always a pleasure talking to you. We'll keep in touch. We'll talk again pretty soon for sure. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, guys. Much love.
Please clap.